live in a world where our children and their children will never have to hear the words, "You have cancer." Our track is illuminated by luminaria. Each one represents a treasured relationship. They represent people, and each has a name and a story to tell. They are our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, our brothers, our sons, our daughters, our friends, and our loved ones. As they grow through the night, as they glow through the night, they represent our shared vision for a cancer-free future. We hope the people these luminaria represent, and we remember them, I can't read. We love the people these luminaria represent, and we remember them, celebrate them, and fight back against this disease for them. Please welcome our very humble, fabulous Luminaria Chair, Michelle Young, who will share her story of her mother, Betty Vallega, and their experience through cancer.
Hi everyone. Before I begin, I just want to say that it is truly an honor to be here in front of you all this evening, not only as your Luminaria chairperson and speaker, but as a member of this beautiful community. I'm going to be perfectly honest here and say that I am absolutely scared to be up here right now. You can't tell, but my heart is going a mile a minute. But after working with Beth and attending all of the American Cancer Society relay programs over the past 8 or so months, I am truly inspired. The world doesn't feel as scary and as big and as lonely knowing that a group of people like this, Arcadia Relay, exists to be each other's shoulders to cry on, to be each other's beacon, and to be each other's support. Those who know me know that my mom was my best friend. It didn't really start out that way, especially during my rebellious early teen years, but she became the person I trusted and loved the most in the world. Her smile brightened my day, and her laughter was infectious. We never hung up the telephone without saying I love you, and we never went to bed without having a hug and a kiss. Losing her was, and still is, the hardest thing I've ever had to overcome. Not only because she was my mother, but because she was my everything. Her story starts 10 years ago. I was 16 years old, and it was Thanksgiving. She worked hard all day cooking our turkey and lasagna, because for whatever reason, we always had lasagna on Thanksgiving. We had our neighbor over for dinner and everyone enjoyed her wonderful cooking, everyone except for her. During that time, she noticed that she wasn't able to eat anymore because it made her vomit. She couldn't hold much food down, so she watched us eat Thanksgiving dinner instead of enjoying it herself. Even though we all wanted her to see the doctor, she refused because she didn't want to ruin the holidays for anybody. My mom, she was stubborn to a fault. So this continued on into the new year. After the holidays were finally behind us, and after her body couldn't take it anymore, she finally went to see her doctor. That's when they found a tumor on her duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine near the stomach. They tried surgery, but the tumor grew attached to the lining of her stomach, and it was too dangerous to touch. So they closed her up and recommended chemotherapy. As a 16-year-old, it's hard to comprehend what was happening. On the one hand, I knew that something bad was bound to happen, but on the other hand, my youthful innocence refused to believe that cancer would dare touch my family. As the days and weeks flew by, and the amount of emergency trips to the hospital rose, youthful innocence lost the battle and reality set in. The night before one of my mom's major surgeries, one she didn't think she'd live through, We laid in our bed together, and she gave me a lifetime's worth of motherly advice. She told me that sometimes boys can be real heartbreakers if I weren't careful, that I should never let the laundry hamper overflow. She reminded me that at the end of the day, my brother and I were all that we've got, that we need to cherish that, take care of each other through the years. If I could go back into time, I would have made her go to the emergency room that Thanksgiving evening. I would ignore her stubborn arguments, and I would carry her into the emergency room, kicking and screaming if I had to. Sometimes I tell myself, maybe she'd still be here if I were as stubborn as she were. If I were, maybe she'd have been able to help pick out my wedding dress, or know the joy of being a grandmother if I'm ever so lucky to have children. But what got me through the days, months, years, is the notion that she is finally resting after fighting so hard for 2 years. When she passed away on April 22nd, 2004, she finally found peace, and even though it's hard being without her, I have to remind myself of that. A few weeks after my mom passed away, she visited me in a dream. She was so excited when she met me. After a hug and a kiss, she told me that she finally got her wings. I looked behind her, and when I didn't see any wings on her back, she winked at me and said that they were the invisible kind. It was probably one of the most happiest dreams I've ever had, and I keep that idea of her flying around the world with her invisible wings and coy smile close to my heart. They say that she died twice. One time when you stop breathing, and a second time a bit later on when somebody says your name for the very last time. Our loved ones are still with us. We carry them every day in our minds and in our hearts. My mom's tombstone reads, "Gone from our sight, but never in our memories. Gone from our touch, but never in our hearts." Mama, I love you every day of my life.